Hi, this video is about local SEO for multiple locations. There's definitely several non-intuitive things that are important here, and I see some major mistakes that a lot of people do, business owners and other SEOs alike. And I'm going to try to cover a good portion of them in this video, along with give you some more resources should you want to learn more. And if you like this video, please like and subscribe for more videos like it. And also I'll put a link to my training for a really detailed and much more structured set of content on how to actually rank your Google My Business pages. So the biggest local SEO mistake I see is using the GMB URLs all set to the homepage. Now, this is suboptimal in a lot of ways, and it can actually cause suspensions. But if you want to have multiple GMBs that look like this, where you have a bunch of ones where you're ranking, then this is then you need to follow the optimal on-page setup that I'm going to recommend below. Again, a lot of business owners do this, and it seems natural. It seems to make sense. And if you have one location, okay, you can do the homepage. I think that's fine. Sometimes I still think it makes sense to do the inner page. It's kind of a little bit of a 6 of one, half a dozen of another in that case. But if you have more than one location, you can't put them all to the homepage. And by GMB URL, this is the website. If someone is navigating to your Google My Business page and they click on website, it's in the info tab inside the Google My Business dashboard. This is the URL that you put in here, and it's actually very important. So that'll come into play with the optimal on-page setups. So what you want is one unique GMB URL per location. So let's actually, I'll do a second one here. So let's do Plano. So this is two separate GMB URLs for two separate locations. And now even if you have, let's say you have, Dallas is a big city, you have two GMBs in there. I'd probably do Dallas, and then I might put like either two, or I might put like street name. That works as well. Either one of those is fine. Just the point is that you need a separate URL. And when you do this, one important benefit that you get from this is that when you're out there building citations, all these links aren't going just to the homepage. You're getting a lot more links to inner pages, which actually gives you more DA. And we're going to do relevance as well. So and like with anchors. So if you're just linked to your home page, sometimes the way the citation will work is when they link to you, they'll just use the URL that you give them. So you'll get that versus this full URL that actually has the city name in it. This is a better URL. Now, this isn't the exact URL I recommend. Again, in my course, I teach the exact specific URLs. Also in the Maps SEO plugin, Dominator plugin, I do make some specific URL recommendations in terms of what do you actually put in here? What is the best way to do this? But from a structure standpoint, you definitely want one unique URL per GMB, and there's going to be a lot of benefits from that. But also, I'll go into a little bit of kind of the training that I cover at a high level. You also want, what's useful to have when you have this kind of sub page or this kind of intermediary page of the city, is that it allows you to easily structure kind of a whole section of your site about Dallas. So your point of interest 1, point of interest 2, that's what POI stands for. You can have these URLs as well. And then what this allows with this, again with the city page, is to kind of make it as like a city hub. Where you interlink all the pages that you have that are relevant to for example, Dallas. You also want to put the city info on this page, embed a city map. Sometimes I'll put some videos on there, maybe even have an article about the city. There's a lot of different things that you can do on this city page. And then you use this as to link out to, here, let me point this out. So the city page, you link to all the POIs and the GMB URL relevant. We'll do this in the relevant GMB URL. Let's just do city page. And then they all link back to the city page as well. But also from the home page, you want there should be a link to this, at least the city page or the GMB URL, or even both. And this way there's kind of a link path. I think usually the homepage has the most authority. So I think from a power standpoint, linking to the GMB URLs directly from the homepage gives you the most power. At the same time, linking to the city page does, because the city page does link to the GMB URL, the GMB URL does link to the city page. So if you link to the city page, you're also adding some power to kind of a relevance page. I think it makes the most sense, for the most part, to actually link direct to the GMB URLs if you're going to choose one or the other. But again, it's not like a really big deal one way or the other. Sometimes I'll link to both as well. And then with each one of the POIs, you want to link to the GMB URL and the city page. I've already put that up here, but I'll put it again here. All right, so this is the way you interlink. This actually matters, because if you build all these pages and they don't interlink them, you're going to lose, or you're going to miss out on a lot of the potential opportunity for these on-page setups. Okay, inside the GMB optimization, I've mentioned a lot of these things already. So the GMB URL, make sure you have the right one in there. And really be thoughtful about that. Okay, so one thing I want to skip to is the service area. So a common thing that I see people want to do is they say, oh, okay, what areas do I service? And they're just like, oh, we're just going to put like everything. I saw one where they were in a city that was kind of near the border of 2 states, and he had both the states in the service area, and so his service area was just huge. And this is sort of like with priorities. If everything is a priority, nothing is a priority. I prefer, if your city that you're in is big enough, just put the city. At the most, I would put maybe some of the surrounding cities. And if they're very close, and especially if they're smaller than the one that you're in, or if you're right on the border of them. And now, if you have a GMB in that other city, you don't want to try to make an overlap there. You want the GMB that is best suited to rank in that one to be that service area. And really, the smaller you put this, the more power it's going to have. I'm not saying make it tiny, but if you're in the middle of a pretty reasonably sized city, don't, like, if you're in Dallas, don't put Dallas in like all its suburbs. That doesn't make sense. It's not going to help you. I'm not sure it's really going to hurt you unless you get too aggressive here, but it's definitely not going to help you. Okay, so in the business name, should you put the city or not? Technically, according to Google, if you were to ask Google, you're not supposed to put the city name. So again, we're going with Joe's Plumbing. So what you can have is Joe's Plumbing, Joe's Plumbing over and over again. So this would be the business name in both the Plano and the Dallas one, versus Joe's Plumbing Dallas, Joe's Plumbing Plano. Okay, I prefer the latter, and usually I think you can get away with the latter. The business name is very powerful for rankings. Now, you don't want to do, I've had a client came to me, he did Joe's Plumbing, 24-hour, it wasn't a plumber, but this is basically what he was doing. Plumber, drain cleaning, leak detection, hot water heater repair. I mean, like, this is literally what it looked like. And heater repair. Okay, so for like a couple months when he did this, it ranked really well for like a lot of different keywords. It ranked really well just for everything. Not for everything, but for like the main keyword and a lot of relevant keywords, but then it got suspended because it goes too far. This is obviously not the business name, because technically this is supposed to be your exact business name. Now, there's a lot of franchises that's like, oh, well, we own this territory. I own this franchise in Plano, and so that's actually the LLC name that I register as a franchisee. And so in that case, it makes sense that there's a lot of plumbing. So they can't immediately look at this and go, this is fake, or this is not what it should be. And so sometimes I've tested, just doing the former one for every location, and I think that's fine. I think it's safer, but I think this is more powerful and almost as safe. And so this is what I would recommend for the business name. Definitely don't do this unless you are looking to make some extra money for a month or 2 or 3 or 4 and then have it be suspended, which is never the approach I take, but maybe that's how you want to do it. Okay, this last one is the biggest safety mistake. So by safety, I mean getting it suspended. So to be clear, let me set a little bit of context here. No GMB is safe under 100% of the circumstances. There's always a chance that a competitor could report it. And the rep that reviews it, no matter how real the business is, no matter how much you don't deserve a suspension, that you could get suspended. And that is a huge pain in the ass. Dealing with Google My Business support is super frustrating. The amount of robotic, nonsensical, non-addressing the issue answers that you get. Pretty much you'll just get this copy and paste. I don't know if they just have give a guy 1,000 cases a day, and so he's just copy pasting, and not really checking it thoroughly and using his or her brain to seriously consider the situation. So the best thing you could do is try to avoid this as best as possible and try to reduce the chances of getting a suspension. And there's a whole lot of things that you can do. It's a little bit outside the scope of this video, but if you have multiple locations, there is a thing that most people do, and it makes sense to do this, but it increases the chances of each individual listing getting suspended when you do what I'm about to say. So you don't want to see this. Having all GMBs in one Google account, and that can be one manager account, one owner, whatever, to where they're all connected into one account. And so what can happen in this case is if one of the GMBs in the account gets suspended, you can have a cascading domino effect where several of the others get suspended immediately afterwards, within a few days. And what happens is Google has kind of a trust that they assign, I think, to the account, basically. And so when one GMB is suspended, it triggers a review of at least some of the other GMBs inside that account. And I had a client recently, and it's very frustrating because I swear I told him not to do this, if he's going to request a card, to tell me what he wanted to do. He went to request a letter for a new location. He used the same account. Naturally, that makes sense. It's all under this one. And when I tell this to clients, they don't take it seriously until it's too late. And he's in kind of a spammy niche. He received the letter. He put it in. It immediately got suspended. And then a couple days later, 2 other of his locations got suspended. He had already had a few other suspended ones in this account. And he had one left that was not suspended, at least at this time. What I did was I moved it out to a different account and removed all access from all other accounts. So here's the right way to do it, the most safe way to do it. One Google account per GMB, and one GMB per Google account. So it goes both ways. And so this is extra work. And clients are going to fight you on this, and it's going to be frustrating for them, and they're not going to want to do it. And you know what? And then I think you definitely going to want to tell them that, or if you have a lead gen site, I know this is extra work, but you should definitely do this. It's going to protect your accounts, because if one of them goes down, no matter how much other safety stuff you do, if you have them in separate accounts, then it doesn't take the other ones down. I've never seen that. But I've seen many times when one GMB gets taken down, a domino effect. I've seen every single one. I've had it in my own lead gen. I had one go down, and then there were 15 in there, and they all were suspended. So that is not a fun thing to have happen. And so no sharing, no managers. This is so confusing for clients, because every single time they give me, I tell them when I first get started with a client, don't share access with my personal account. Don't add me as a user. And I have to say this 3 times, because if I say it just once, they hear what they want to hear, they hear what the easiest thing is, or they dismiss it as not important, and they share it. And if it's if I had all of my clients in my personal Gmail account, and one of them went down, it could trigger suspensions for all of them. And so, even if it's, even if it has I haven't worked on it in many years, and has no relation, it's a completely different niche in a completely different city, they all get reviewed. All right, and that includes managers. Don't make a manager for convenience. I get that it's more work, okay? But really what we're looking for is no cascading suspensions. This is absolutely critical, and this is one of the biggest things. All the other GMB optimization doesn't matter at all if it's suspended. Getting multiple GMBs suspended at once is one of the worst feelings ever. especially when I've had GMBs that are ranking really, really well get suspended, and dealing with the GMB support is just absolutely a nightmare. And there's just no, you just want to avoid it at all times. And so definitely avoid that mistake. Hopefully this video has been helpful to you. Please like and subscribe for more videos like it. Click the bell notification and to get notified. And leave a comment below if you have any questions, or if you want to share anything related to this, please feel free to. I will try to respond to your comments. And thank you very much, and have a great day.